Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BJ and Bill podcast. Boy, I said that just like a Mr. Announcer guy there, huh? I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Ordom, and welcome. Wait, is this episode 10?
Episode 10.
Wow, we're into double digits. Who'da thunk it? We're into double digits.
Wait till we hit episode 100.
I did a long time ago. I thought I wanted to do a podcast of my own, and I did. It was once a week, and I think I got up to like 6 months, like 25 or 26 of them or something like that. And it's a lot of work, especially the one I was doing. I was interviewing people. I was interviewing one person every week. So I would have to set up interviews and talk to people and do some real editing because they weren't radio professionals like BJ and Bill. And it's a pain. So hats off to our crew there at the Podcast Playground who puts this together for us.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. And I'll say it again. Thank you, Jay.
Mm-hmm. yeah, especially Jay, who's our what engineer, producer, what would we
don't know what I'd actually call it because he does a lot of promoting.
Yeah, that too.
You know, they buy Facebook ads. For our podcast, and of course,
I've seen,
and they also put out things on Google, like Google ads. So people,
I've seen the Facebook ads. I've seen them out there. We're like actually out there. It's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are downloading. I guess he said he would have some numbers for me in a week or two.
It's awesome. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Been a little stressful still. Getting the house ready for selling, and I'm not nervous yet, but I know the realtor said, "Oh, we'll probably sell it in a couple of weeks."
Right.
So it's almost been a week now.
Wow.
Actually, it has been a week that actually went on Saturday. So
okay, as we're recording this, as they say.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Friday, but we've only had one view. Now we've had plenty of views on the social media pages that present real estate, but as far as people actually walking through the house,
okay,
we only had one
showing, whatever showing is the right word.
Yes.
Yeah, when people actually come through and walk through and like that. So, and like you said, or I think we both said at some point, that nowadays with the social media stuff and the red fins and blue fins, yellow fins, one fish, two fish, three fish, who knows. There's probably bunches of people looking at your place, in Chicago or Cleveland or Detroit, where it's starting to get cool. And they're thinking, oh, wouldn't Florida be great? And so they look you up and then there you are. So, yeah, you don't have to have somebody come through it until they're ready to buy it. I think. I
don't know how it works, but yeah, like I said, I remember when we sold our last place, I think the first couple of weeks that we had it up on the market, we had quite a bit of action, people that came through, and then it kind of slowed up after that. The only thing that I am discovering, and this is making me sad, prices are coming down. You know, the way they skyrocketed up?
Yes.
Almost too much, really.
Yes.
And now they're starting to come down because the place where we bought ours, our new unit that we'll have, the prices went down like $4,000 from what we bought ours from. And I'm going, this isn't good.
And are they expecting you to pay that extra $4,000? Of course they are, right?
Yeah, I signed a contract.
Oh man. Well, and I think that's based on interest rates, right? I think because they keep raising. I mean, I follow financial news a little bit, But I do know enough to say that as they raise interest rates, the prices have to kind of come down, because if they don't, the house, it's all about the mortgage payment.
Yes.
And maybe your mortgage payment is $2,000 this week, and they raise interest rates and your mortgage payment goes to $2,500. It's like, well, no, I can't afford the same amount of house. So they have to adjust the house price.
Now, one good thing, we've already locked in our next, rate for when we buy the new place.
Right.
We're locked in at 5.750, whatever that is.
5.750. 5.750. 0.75. Well, that's for 5 3/4. That sounds like a lot, but I don't know that because I haven't
saying it could get up to 10.
Right. I've heard that too, because apparently, apparently that's how the whole inflation fighting thing works. And here we are, a couple of guys who know nothing about economics talking about macroeconomics. But yes, they want to slow down the economy or something like that. And the way you do it is raise
makes no sense.
I don't know. I
watched slow it down.
What's that?
It makes no sense to me why you'd want to slow it down. It seems like you'd want people out there buying products and spending money.
I don't understand it either. I really don't. But like I said, I watch a couple of financial gurus on YouTube, and it's like the kids that get their news from TikTok. I'm no better. I'm no better than that. So I have no clue. That's just, as they say, it's just what I hear from the experts on YouTube. So good God, what are we doing?
Well, I hear my information from comedians. Right. So that's even worse.
I hear you. So yeah, it's crazy out there. And I'm kind of thankful I'm not in the market for real estate, although I'm not in the market for real estate, but I am. My apartment lease comes up at the end of the year in January, and I'm kind of curious how if they're going to try and jack that on me as well. I don't know. So we'll see.
Here, I will tell you this.
Yes.
Of course, you live in a college town, which might be a little bit different.
Yes.
But, my daughter is moving out, and they raised their rent by a couple $100 a month where she was, because the lease is now run out.
Right.
But the people that she's living with, they're looking for a place.
Right.
And they're finding that places are getting cheaper instead of rates going up as far as rentals now.
Oh, cool.
And so they called because they saw that some of the rentals they looked at was being represented by the very same company that rents to them.
Got it.
So they have made a call saying, hey, I see that you're lowering rates on other properties. So if you will keep this property at the same rate we were paying before you jacked up the mortgage, not the mortgage, but the lease on it, we will stay.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they've heard back yet because they just did that the other day.
Yeah. And as I've told you, I'm as we record this, again, for the last week or so, I've been doing the house sitting, cat sitting thing for a friend north of Jacksonville in Georgia, just over the border in North Georgia. And I've driven down to Jacksonville a couple of times, and I'm kind of liking what I see. The college town Gainesville is nice, and I've enjoyed my year there. But Jacksonville, bigger town, NFL franchise, even though it's the really terrible Jacksonville Jaguars. Minor league baseball team, if you wanted to go and take in a baseball game.
And a minor league hockey team.
Which one is it? Who's the hockey team in Jacksonville? You don't know.
They have a team in the ECHL, which is where we came from, Fort Myers.
Yeah,
the very
Florida Everblades.
Same league.
Wow. Okay, so the folks can't see it, but as we're talking, I am typing into Google Jacksonville hockey team and see what comes up here. It is the Jacksonville Icemen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they play the Everblades, huh?
Yeah, they're in the same division. I think they're probably in the same division.
Division. You're right, because they open. Holy cow, they are playing the Everblades today as we record this. They are playing the Everblades today at 7:30 in Jacksonville. Oh, it's in Southwest Florida. It's at Hertz. It's at Hertz Arena in Estero. but it is literally today. All right, so never mind, folks, because we're recording this on a never mind. All right, so I'm sorry. I got all excited for a minute there, and I thought I'd run out and see a hockey team. So anyway, yes, the Jacksonville Icemen are playing. So wait a minute. So what I should do is I should look to see, because this podcast will drop on Wednesday, which is the 9th. So on Friday the 11th, yeah. Oh, they're playing next week. They're on Tuesday the 8th. They're playing the South Carolina Stingrays, and on Thursday the 10th, they're at Greenville, and then at Friday the 11th, they are playing versus Troy Rivera's Lions. Who the heck is that?
Wow. I haven't followed the ECHL.
I haven't
really
either
since I moved.
I have not either. So
now, I know the team in Greenville, South Carolina used to be called the Growl, but they've changed their names. I like that.
Yeah.
The Greenville Growl.
Greenville Growl. That is a cool name. You're right.
Now I think they got some lame name now.
Right. And so the Troy, boy, I can't. Wow. Trois Rivières. Oh, Three Rivers. Trois Rivières. I'm saying that totally wrong, I'm sure. And yet
it's probably French.
It is French because it's in Quebec, Canada.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Totally
that's in
French.
the ECHL now?
There's an ECHL team in Quebec, Canada. What a long way to drive, to fly, to take a bus, whatever, to play a hockey game. Who knew? That's
Can you
awesome.
imagine if they were going to Fort Myers? Whoa, this is a long way.
Wow. So anyway, the Jacksonville Icemen play at ViStar Memorial Arena in Jacksonville. So, that is so cool that, we got off on a little tangent there. But yeah, I remember, of course, you and I used to be big Everblades fans. And, we would go and enjoy those games from the occasional luxury box. So I need to find a friend in Jacksonville who can get me into one of the luxury boxes if they have them. I'm sure they do at the home games there for the Icemen. That's cool.
Now, I don't know if he has boxes or whatever, but I actually have a sister-in-law, a nephew, and a niece.
Right.
And a former brother-in-law, which used to be married to the sister-in-law, but that's no longer. They all live in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. So you have family up here.
Right.
Awesome. Are
Maybe
they
I
good
should have
folks?
moved to Jacksonville.
So, right. All of this, I got totally off on the hockey tangent, totally, as I was about to do the story of I'm thinking of moving from Gainesville to Jacksonville. Bigger city, more to do, closer to other friends, stuff like that. So I think when we are done recording today, I might take a ride down there. They have a couple of really nice area. Jacksonville or St. John's Town Center for you shopping fans is awesome. Great place to wander around and shop and eat and, have an adult beverage or three. So, yeah, anyway, I'm just giving it some thought.
Two or three? You wimp?
I knew you'd catch on to that. So for any of our friends in Jacksonville at this point or who have experience there, I'd be curious to hear. So how's this for a segue? Give us an email blast at bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. Again, remember to spell out the BJ Bill, BJ and Bill podcast @gmail.com, or drop us a line on our Facebook page by the same name, BJ and Bill podcast. Just look us up on Facebook and you will find us and can add a comment. And a few people have been dropping in comments about the show and stuff like that. No real questions or anything yet, but people have been, saying hi and stopping by. So that's cool.
Yeah, I would have got a big smile on my face. I should have it pulled up so I can read who it's from. But, a lady in Southwest Florida who used to listen to us all the time on the radio. And she said, my mother and I used to always enjoy listening to your show.
Oh,
and
cool.
Now my mother and I are enjoying listening to BJ and Bill on their podcast.
Awesome. That's totally awesome. Yeah, I saw that comment.
That did the heart some good.
Yes, it did. Of course, we were all much younger then, but that's okay. Here we're still here having fun, so it's all good. All good.
Now, last week or the week before, we talked about how, I walked into this place and it really wasn't fully done. It had problems. that probably should have been fixed before we closed.
Right.
Well, my daughter closed a couple days ago on her place.
Right.
We go in after the closing. We're looking at it going, this place ain't done. The blinds were sitting on the counter.
Oh boy.
It just wasn't done.
Just
of course, there was
baked yet. Need more time in the oven.
Yeah, there was a gentleman in there, hanging them. And then he said also the painters will be coming in the morning to do the touch up. And I'm thinking, we closed.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have all that been done? Shouldn't we, wouldn't you think you'd walk into a new house? What if you had your movers bringing furniture in?
Right. That day.
Yeah, because you're closing that day.
Right. So in other words, they've already given you, or actually in this case, your daughter, they've already handed her the keys and said, congratulations, it's yours.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And,
right.
and you walked in and there's still somebody working on the place. That's not good.
Now, see, and it's a different builder than we had here.
Right.
I don't know if that's the new way of all the builders now closes, because what they all try to do, they try to close at the end before an end of a month.
Sure.
Kind of like the car dealers, the way they have the big deals at the end of the month.
I'm guessing that's because they're going to charge you for that month, or you owe, your mortgage starts on that month, right? Probably.
Right.
So in other words, yes, if we can get you out of here by the end of the month, so much the better for our sales statistics. But anyway,
actually,
you walked into your daughter's place.
They wanted to close the day before, actually. But listen
Right.
to this. So she teaches school.
Yes.
So she gets a text or call or whatever from them about 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 11. I don't know, somewhere between 10 and noon. Says,
right.
We have you scheduled to close today at 2.
Okay.
She has to call them right away. Go, I am a teacher. There's no way I can just leave here at 2 o'clock. Who's supposed to watch the kids? Who's supposed to, teach you have to have a little bit of notice.
Oh, that was the only notice she got? Was like,
yes.
Hey, it's today?
It's
Holy
today.
cow.
So they did not, because that was on, I don't know how many days were in last month, but that was the last day of the month.
Of October.
And she said, I cannot do that.
Yeah. Right.
So she ended up closing on November the 1st, a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if they didn't have all this stuff done on the 1st, they sure as hell didn't have it all done on the 30th or 31st or however many months there was.
Yeah. The days before. That is crazy. And I mean, did you get any kind of answer, or was it kind of like, oh, well, tough beans. This is what's happening.
This is just minor stuff. We're going to get it all taken care of here in the next couple of days. And, everything will be fine. Well, yeah, everything will be fine. You'll get it taken care of. And then of course they wanted, listen to this one. They wanted her to leave the key in a hidden place outside.
Uh-huh.
Where I would say they probably did this for all the buildings that they needed to continue working on. So that means every worker, every person is going to know, hey, the key is hidden here.
Right.
Well, we said, no, we're not going to do that.
No.
So that's why the wife and I, when I talked to you yesterday, we were there, kind of watching,
chilling on the air mattress,
waiting for vendors to come and finish up there. Like I said, though, who wants people painting, if you've moved new furniture in there? If you move in the day you close.
Good point, right?
So I don't know, but, like I said, we had the same problems when we closed on this house. And now I'm telling the wife, and this will be 3 different builders, though, but I said, you know what? We're going to run into this same problem when we close. They're going to want to close because they want to close in December. So we're probably going to close like maybe one of the last 2 days of December. Right. And we're going to walk in after closing and they're going to not be done yet. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Would it even be worth asking about or trying or saying, look, well, like you said, it's a different builder. So they're going to tell you, oh, no, we're better than that. Of course, they will tell you that. Whether it's true or not remains to be seen. So, yeah, that's kind of insane. I mean, that's how fast they're trying to build these things and crank them out. It's interesting because in the neighborhood I'm at, again, up in South Georgia, rather, I should say, it's just north. It's literally exit 6 on I-95 over the border north of Jacksonville. In the neighborhood I am at right now, they're building as well. And they're actually, and this might be a sign like you were talking about, things are slowing down a little bit, perhaps, because across the street from where I'm at right now, there's a duplex. Well, everything in here is a double. It's kind of, what do you call that? Like an attached
villa
or something.
Well, I back in the old days, we called them duplexes.
Yeah, in the old days, they were duplexes.
But now they're villas. And what's really weird, though, back in the day, too, usually the same person bought both sides and they rented out the other side.
Right. And my, you know what? God bless you, Dad, up there in heaven. My father tried to tell me that 35 years ago. Just buy a duplex and then rent the other side and live for free, and then buy another one. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work. And he was right, of course. I'd have been a real estate, I'd have been the next real estate baron by this time. But no, I didn't take my father's good advice. So, Dad, you were right as always.
Now, see,
but anyway, long story short, what's that?
We thought of that too. Even when we moved here, we thought, hey,
yeah,
let's rent our house.
Yeah.
Which we probably could have made money by renting our house for sure.
Yeah.
But, when you really think about it, and then somebody comes in and trashes it.
Yeah, that's the
You're
problem.
responsible for cleaning it up. And of course, they can call you in the middle of the night and say, hey, the air conditioner's out. Send somebody here to fix the air conditioner.
Yeah. So yes. And if you're just renting one house, it's probably not worth it because of what you just said. You can't there's no way to get a management company. You could get a management company to take care of it, but then you're not making any money. If you have a bunch of them and they're relatively cheaper, inexpensive houses, then yeah, you could probably have a management company take care of the whole bunch of them. And you don't, it's no skin off your back if the AC breaks in the middle of the night because they're going to send somebody. So anyway, long story short, no, I was just to finish the thing about here. There's several of them that are finished in this neighborhood with a for sale sign in front of them. And I haven't seen anybody taking a look at them lately. I don't know if the market, like you said, is slowing down a little bit. I suspect that it is. But anyway, it's just interesting. It's interesting how all that stuff works.
Now, I also read an article this week.
What's that?
I read an article this week, which, I think we pretty well suspected that, but people that lived in Southwest Florida,
right?
Many people that lived there and moved there in the last 5 years after this hurricane is deciding it's time to go back where I came from.
Do you think that's true? I mean, or did you you said you read an article. Does it actually talk like that? Are people actually making that decision?
Well, it says mostly the newer you are, the way it sounds.
Yes.
The more likely you are to say, I don't need this.
This sucks. I'm out of here.
Yeah. But the people that have been there for years and years and years, they're going, this is Florida.
Right.
We realize that this is a risk.
Right.
And we're rebuilding. We're not going nowhere.
That part makes sense. And even shout out to Paula, my ex-wife, who's still in Fort Myers. She even said that the day after the hurricane. I talked to her. She still had cell phone service. And she said, and I might have mentioned this before. She said, when you live in Southwest Florida or anywhere in Florida, that someday some storm is coming and it's got your name on it. And she says, and this was just our storm for Fort Myers and, Cape Coral and Naples and the whole area. This was our storm. We got it. Congrats. Now it's time to rebuild and get moved. And she's been, of course, she's been there. I've been there. You've been there for 40 years or something like that. She's not going anywhere. Of course not. But you're right. I have heard stories of other people who, came down and literally had only been there a year or two, and now they're rethinking it. It's like, well, there's no hurricanes in Poughkeepsie or whatever, but I don't know. I don't get it.
But that's what they're saying. The newer the people are that moved is the higher number of people that are going to move away. And the longer you've been there, the less people that are going to move away.
I totally believe it.
Florida is a lifestyle.
Yes. And I love it. I think it's awesome. I do think I don't know. And I don't want to make this a political discussion, but I do know that it's been interesting, the politics of it, that it's like, here we are living in the free state of Florida while the rest of the country has been, and again, not now, but, over the past couple of years, locked down and blah, 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 and all that stuff closed and everything. And I don't know. Yeah, I do know. I like living where I live and having the freedom to make my own choices. I'm just going to say that. How's that?
I would have never moved out of Fort Myers, actually, if the daughter wouldn't have moved to Central Florida. And now that I'm here, I really like Central Florida. But in the wintertime, it'll be a 5-degree difference. And I'm going, whoa, I'm cold. I want to go back to Fort Myers.
You can't, of course, the folks at home can't see, but here I am sitting here. You and I are chatting. I'm wearing my little hoodie here, sitting in the office. Now the sun's coming in and it's starting to warm up. But yeah, it was cool this morning here in Georgia and all that. So, but yeah, you're right. Florida is a lifestyle. It's a thing. It's like, it's just how we do stuff here. And I like it. And it was the same way. The interesting thing, it was the same way when I lived in Texas for 2 years. Texas, they're I'm not going to say brutal. They're serious about it. This is Texas. We do things our way. If you don't like it, there's the door, feel free to go back to where you came from. Whatever.
I'd believe it. I know some people that came from Texas
Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know if did we mention it here on the show? Maybe we did mention it. Maybe not. If you haven't, on YouTube, there's a hilarious series of 4 or 5 little short videos, and they're done. I want to say they're done by Babylon B, which is a known name in the funny video business, of a California couple that moves to Texas and learns the differences between their California lifestyle and moving to Texas. And it's hilarious. Just look it up. Just look California moving to Texas on YouTube. Hilarious videos. All right. Anyway, that's wow. Here, this is like become the BJ and Bill real estate show, hasn't it?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to Fort Myers.
Okay.
And the hurricane.
Yes.
I talked to my son this week.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, now he's lived there practically his entire life. He was 4 years old.
Right.
When he moved to Southwest Florida.
Right.
So, it's pretty much what he's known all of his life. He does go back to Indiana once in a while to visit his mother, but he basically has lived in Fort Myers. Basically, I'd call him, Florida born, being 4 years old. That's not very
Absolutely.
old. So he's been to Fort Myers Beach millions of times. He finally went to Fort Myers Beach the other day.
Wow.
And he said, yes, I saw the pictures on the news. Yes, I saw pictures on Facebook. But he said when he drove down Estero Parkway, down the main drag, Fort Myers Beach, unbelievable. He said there is so much that's gone, and what's there is like totally still destroyed.
Yeah.
He says it was more than he thought it would be. And he said he even emotionally got upset.
Oh yeah.
Driving out there.
Oh yeah.
And seeing it for the first time.
And there are thousands and thousands of people who used to live there. I say used to because it's entirely possible their home is gone. Where are those people and how are they living now? That's my question anyway. But yeah, that would be amazing to see. Amazing.
Now again, I said that I had a friend whose mother still lives on Fort Myers Beach.
Right.
And I've learned more about this. She has a stilt home. If you don't know what a stilt home is, it's actually built up off the ground, almost a complete floor. So she still has the stilt home. Water didn't get in that, but like she had like a little under your home, you have like your garage.
Right.
You have these big stilts, but you have like a garage and you have some storage area.
Right.
Now, all that stuff was pretty much destroyed and completely gone. But as far as the house itself on stilts, not a whole lot wrong with it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it has utilities or services, water, electric, anything like that.
Now, I did read also that the cable companies, and the internet companies are saying by the end of, I think, maybe November, they're expecting to have everybody back online.
Wow. That's amazing, because I'm guessing, I mean, again, here's BJ and Bill who know nothing about this stuff, but we're guessing that they're going to probably have to just rewire the whole island for electric and cable and all of that stuff. Cause I'm sure all of that stuff just got torn down, or all the old school power poles and everything probably just all got ripped up and trashed. So I don't know. That's hats off to the people doing that work, because that is amazing, fabulous, much needed work. So I know that there's probably crews out there 24/7 still doing the job to get everybody back as best as they can. It'll never be the way it was, but to start to do something. Who knows?
What was that? It was more than a month ago. Almost 2 months.
Oh yeah.
And it's still just like Gentry said, it was like, my son said it was just like a war zone.
Yeah.
Like I said, he said it was unbelievable. Even after seeing the pictures, after watching the videos, seeing it in real life, he said it was totally different and just mind blowing.
And it affects you, like you said, mentally. It affects, like you're used to seeing these things. And I'm sure you've done the same. You look at the pictures of like where Times Square was, where you'd come over the bridge and you'd be right there in Fort Myers Beach. It's just gone. There's nothing there anymore. It's just flattened. And the pier was totally torn up and all of these things. And it's like, I can see the pictures, but you're right. To travel there like your son did and actually see that, I'd be depressed. I mean, I would be like, wow, what are we going to do here? And again, there's smarter people than me that are out there doing the job. So good for them. God bless them.
Is it break time?
It is. We're about halfway through the show. Let's take a quick break. And this is the BJ and Bill podcast. We will be right back.
And now back to John with the weather.
Yes, Andy. Tonight, a big storm. Storm this! Get the soccer offer from Pizza Hut and Pepsi. With every 2 medium pan Super Supreme, you get a real soccer ball and 4 cans of Pepsi for free. Yes, a real soccer ball and 4 cans of Pepsi for free. Yes, Pepsi the soccer ball. Don't miss the Pizza Hut and Pepsi soccer offer. With every 2 medium pan Super Supreme, you get a real soccer ball and 4 cans of Pepsi for free. What about the weather, Eddie? Don't resist and call 19,000 now.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And welcome back to the BJ and Bill podcast. This is podcast number 10. Wow. Yeah, we are so excited. And I put this on Facebook too. I says, it's just fun being back together. And, even though we ramble pretty much about nothing, it's just kind of like the old days. And I don't know, there's just something about it that, puts a smile on my face every week when we do this.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And you're right. It's just Before it was two young men talking about nothing. Now it's two old men talking about nothing. It's the same. It's all
We didn't talk much about like Social Security and taking your bills and
real estate and all that stuff, because we didn't. Those are things you didn't have in your, they weren't part of your experience back when you were 30 and 40 years old. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, Social Security and Medicare and all of that stuff.
That's one good thing. By the time this podcast plays,
yes,
all those Medicare Advantage plan commercials will be gone. And also, since it's Wednesday,
yes,
Tuesday, election day, all those commercials will be gone.
Wow. Now, yeah, for better or for worse, we are recording this like you. I didn't even think of that. And this podcast will drop the day after the election. So they'll probably still be sorting it out in some of these states where it's like too close to call. Are we going to talk about that or not? I mean, it's going to be interesting, but I don't know how much energy we want to give to that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I'm already sick of it.
I am too. Heavily, totally, completely sick of it. And yet it is interesting in a way. Well, again, I mean, yeah, I just, all I know is what I see on YouTube and Twitter and the social media and all of that. I do watch a little bit of regular TV, and I know a lot of people don't watch any of it anymore, and I'm okay with that because I think a lot of it is BS. So it's going to be interesting. So maybe we'll touch on it after elections and see what happens. I don't know.
I'll tell you what really has me disturbed about politics nowadays.
Uh-oh.
I do believe, and I mean, this is a sad state of affairs. Each party, you have two different parties.
Yes.
And all they are is trying to destroy the other party.
Yes.
They're not trying to do anything together. They're not trying to make life easier or better for anyone.
Right.
Their main objective, destroy the other party. And that has caused enormous pain to the country from people just because there's wackos out there on both sides.
Right.
And now they want to, blow people up and shoot people. And it's just, maybe if the two parties ever got their brains together,
right,
started working together. I've always been this way though. I'm for, and it'll never happen, but I'm for one bill at a time. They'll put a bill together.
Right.
And it'll have 20 or 30 different things in it.
Right.
And some, everybody would support. But there's a lot that one party is going to, no, we can't do that. And the other one's going to, And so let's just go to the part where there's only going to be one item in the bill.
One thing at a time.
You have to pass each and every one as a single item.
There you go. I love that. I love that.
That's what I think.
I couldn't agree with you more about the fact that both parties seem to have their mission statement is just to cause as much trouble as they can for the other party. And I pray that the American people, you and me and everybody listening to this thing, finally demands that it's like, we don't care what you do to each other. Just take care of the people of this country and take care of what needs to be taken care of in this country for this country. So I don't know how I don't know how we get that message across. Smarter people than me will figure that out and hopefully figure that out. I don't know that they will.
Unfortunately, I don't think the people are smarter or will figure it out that are in charge to figure it out.
Yeah, and a big part of it for me is that I kind of see I feel now some people, you know what? I love these quotes on Facebook nowadays, that it's like, a month ago you called us conspiracy theorists. Today you're just calling us correct. And it's like, I see like it just seems like all these things that are being done to divide people, black, white, male, female, Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, whatever. It's just ways to divide people. And by dividing us, it's divide and conquer, literally. It's you keep us at each other's throats. We're not. Meanwhile, you guys in power on both sides get to, fatten your bank accounts while the rest of us out here are dealing with, rising interest rates and gasoline you can't afford and groceries you can't even find anymore. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. And I just think people need to kind of figure out you're being played. You're being played big time by forces that want to keep you separate from each other. Because if we could get together, we're more powerful than they are, because there's a lot more of us than there are of them. But if you divide everybody into small groups, black, white, male, female, gay, straight, all of that stuff. Okay, now we can, bicker with each other. I don't. All right. I'm done. I'm done ranting, BJ Odom. I'm done ranting. I promise.
Yes, politics. That's why I don't even like to touch it. I will touch on it. I don't know if it's a fun fact or what.
What's that?
Now, when you're in a house, now in our house, we have a perfect temperature for the day and a perfect temperature for the night.
Right.
What is your perfect temperature? If you're in control of the air conditioning heater unit,
air conditioning thermostat,
what would you have it set on?
Well, now, good question, and I'll give you an answer, but I will also say, keep in mind that different thermostats might read different, so while it might say 75, that might be cool enough for you because that's just the way your thermostat works. So I don't know that. Now, to answer your question, you deserve an answer. I like it a little cool during the day, so maybe I'll set it for 70 during the day, and maybe just a teeny bit warmer at night, like maybe 72 at night or something like that.
Wow, you're opposite of me.
I know, and most people say, and I've done a little bit of reading on this, that most people say it's better to be cool at night, that you actually sleep better when it's cool at night. And I maybe I'll have to try that. I don't know.
Yeah, during the day we keep ours at about 77.
Wow.
And then at night,
you are old.
And then at night, though, we take it down to like 74, 75.
And again,
that's still not real cold.
No, not really.
You go to my son's house. He keeps it like 68, 69 all the time. I got to wear a coat. I got to wear a coat when I go visit my son. I go, what? This is like going to the North Pole.
And again, like I said, I've heard that it's better to sleep in the cooler air because your body responds better. I don't know. Must be like our old caveman days, better to hibernate at night or something. I don't know. So, but it is true. And and this is another one of those getting older things, that as you get older, you don't like it as cold, right? I mean,
right.
I remember when I was younger, during the BJ and Bill show days, when I would go to visit older friends, I always thought it was stinking hot in their houses. I'm like, can't you turn the AC down just a little? And they're, we like it this way. I'm like, wow. And now I'm afraid to say that I think I'm getting there. I think a little bit.
Well, my son will come into my house and go, oh God, don't you have an air conditioning? It's like burning up in here. When I go to his house, I'm going, give me a coat. I'm freezing to death. It's too daggone cold.
So we are proving the fact, we're proving for these four people, or, the three people, you and me and your son, that it's like, yeah, when you're older, you like it cooler. I guess. I don't know. I guess so. I still like my adult beverages cold, so that's fine. I'll never drink warm beer.
According to the Department of Energy, 78 degrees is the right setting to balance savings and comfort. 78.
That sounds crazy warm to me.
That even sounds really warm to me, being an old guy.
Yeah, that sounds crazy warm. Now, if you're up north, again, here we go with the Florida versus the rest of the world kind of thing, or, any place else. Yeah, I could see that if it was like nice low humidity or something like, or there was a breeze blowing through the house or something like that, I can see that would be okay. But in Florida, the house is closed all the time because of the humidity, and 78 degrees would be like growing hothouse tomatoes. It would be just crazy. It would be to me, it would be crazy.
Now, I remember growing up, I grew up in an old farmhouse.
Yeah.
Where the heater was in the basement.
Woo.
And there was a big, gigantic square vent in the middle of the living room. It was probably 4x4.
Right.
and all the heat came up through that one vent.
Just one for the whole house.
Yeah. And then you had like other vents that would go up into, like the upstairs and into other rooms. But
right.
The real main heat came up in one room.
Wow.
And I remember, growing up in the wintertime, which, hey, Florida and Indiana is totally different.
Little bit
in the
wintertime.
wintertime.
Yeah.
But it never really got all the way up to the upstairs. And that's where, we had our bedrooms.
Right.
And I remember it would be so cold that you'd have like 5 covers on, just trying to stay warm, but you did sleep better.
Is that because you were younger, or do you actually think you slept better because it was cold?
I think it's because, like I said, I still to this day, the colder the house is at night, the better I sleep.
All right, I'm going to try that. I'm not going to, I can't do it right now because I'm visiting, I'm cat sitting, house sitting here. But when I get back to my apartment and I can turn the AC down at night and it's cheap because it's a 1-bedroom little apartment, I can do that. I like the idea of a good experiment there. Now, of course, you do have to get more blankets or whatever out to make sure that you stay warm, but I think it is that you're breathing the cool air.
Yeah.
I think that has something to do with it.
Now, another thing in the summertime, we had a window fan.
A window fan.
In the window in the hallway.
Yes.
And of course, you had a fan in your room too.
Yes.
But all the windows were always open. See, like you said, in Florida, it's just too hard to open all your windows because of the humidity. And also,
the
allergies are just terrible.
Right. And bugs.
Yeah.
And bugs. Yeah.
But I remember waking up in the morning and you'd smell that fresh country air. And it was like, I enjoyed that. I mean, I have great memories of being upstairs, both in the winter and the heat of summer, with the fans going and all the windows opening.
Right.
I don't know. It's just that I can imagine how I felt now just talking about it.
And yet, if I ask BJ Odom, you want to move back up north to have that experience again?
Hell no.
I knew that was coming. And I agree with you. I mean, before I moved back to Florida, when I was up in Cleveland taking care of my mother before she passed, I was there for about 2 years. And yeah, in the late summer and fall, when the leaves change and and it gets cooler and fantastic place to live for that 90 days. And then after that, congrats, it's winter in Cleveland. And you're not seeing the sun for the next 4 months. It just goes from dark gray to light gray to dark gray to light gray. And that's all you get for 4 months. And
that's
so not really worth the trade to me.
That's like we went up to visit family in May. And I thought, okay, May, it's going to start warming up.
Right.
Now, it did warm up because we were up there for 2 weeks.
Right.
The first week we were there, Susan and I both were freezing. The second week we felt pretty good.
Right.
But that first week, it was May.
And it was, but what was the temperature? I mean, this was Indiana in May. What's the temperature?
Okay. Now, I think this was relatively cool for that month of May.
Right.
But it was probably like a Florida winter, maybe 50s, 60s. And then it got up to like, the mid 70s.
Right. And there's probably 72. People outside in shorts and t-shirts and you're freezing your butt off. And
we're still wearing, jackets.
I know. We always used to say that on the beach in Florida in the winter, that you would go to the beach and the people in jeans and a sweater were the native Florida people, or the folks that had lived in Florida for a long time. And then the people from Ohio were in shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops, and the Canadians were in the water because they love it, So yeah, that's the different phases of what you think is cold.
Now, I do not get this philosophy.
Uh-oh.
God rest his soul. My brother, oh man, I miss him. But he would come to Florida and spend like 2 to 3 months in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always say, come down here in the wintertime. Which tell me, it made no sense to me, but he'd come down in shorts. And he said, if I have to put on my long pants, I'm going back north.
That kind of makes sense. It's like, I'm in Florida, damn it. I'm going to wear shorts. I don't care what the temperature is. It says Florida for my zip code. I should be wearing shorts. I get that.
He always said, if I have to put on my jeans, I'm going back north. I go, well, that's stupid because it's even going to be colder there.
You're going to be putting on your jeans and your flannel underwear when you get to, if you go back north and right now. But yes. So, whatever, there's folks out. And my mother always said, I asked both my parents when they were around if they had ever wanted to move to Florida. And my mother, God bless her, would always say, oh no, dear, I like to see the change of seasons. And I would always say, Mom, that's because you don't have to shovel the change of seasons. When winter comes, you don't have to go out there and shovel your driveway or rake leaves or whatever. She liked the change of seasons, which I get it. I understand. Florida, we have sort of a little bit of winter and then summer for most of the time. So it's okay.
And I've never once had to wake up in the morning and take the shovel and shovel the sunshine out of the driveway so I could pull out.
I know.
And I do tell people from up north, they go, just like you said, I like the change of seasons.
Right.
But I said, really, when you think about it, and they go, and it's so hot, especially in the summertime. I said, well, we're a little bit opposite of you.
Right.
But in the wintertime, aren't you the people that start your car maybe 15 to 20 minutes before you have to leave for work? So It can warm up.
So it can warm up and you can get the ice off the windows. Yes.
Yeah. I said, it's the same way here. In the heat of summer where it's 110 degrees, you go out, turn on your air conditioning for a few minutes, maybe before you leave. I said, I don't. I'll roll the windows down. Then when it starts to cool off, I'll roll the windows up.
Yeah.
But I said, it's the same thing. In the wintertime, you're going to rush to your car to turn on the heater. Mm-hmm. Same thing here. In the summertime, you're going to rush to your car to turn on the air conditioner.
That's where you really need one of those remote little start key fobs. Where you can be in the kitchen and push the button and the car starts out in the driveway. I love that.
Now, what I can't fathom, and I have some friends that are born and raised here in Florida.
Right.
Let's give Bart Anderson a shout out. One of my good buddies.
There's a name from the long distant past.
Yeah.
And he's still around. I still see him on Facebook.
Now I don't think he's in Fort Myers very much at all. They're one of these couples that have an RV, and they do a lot of traveling. I think they're one of the Carolinas. I don't know if it's North Carolina or South Carolina.
Right.
They have a son in one of the Carolinas, and they have a daughter that's in Tallahassee. So usually when they're in Florida, they're usually either in Tallahassee,
right,
or they're somewhere in the Carolinas. But, they also go out west and they also go out east. And once in a while, I'll see that it seems like at least once a year, they're down in, Southwest Florida for maybe a couple of weeks with their RV. But they're real. I think it'd be a nice life if I wasn't sick and had to pretty well be close to Tampa General. But yeah, they got that RV and they go everywhere.
I'm thinking of that in years to come. I've still got a little bit of time. I'm thinking that I might enjoy that same lifestyle, at least for a year to try it. But anyway, Bart, the funny thing about Bart, not funny. The reason I know Bart Anderson is not only from the BJ and Bill show. His wife worked with my then wife at the Fort Myers News Press. Yeah. And that's where I met him from. So that cool connection there. But anyway, so Mr. Bart. Yep.
And what I was getting at, he was born and raised, in Southwest Florida.
Right.
So as a child, he lived in one of those houses, which most houses in Florida, back when you and I and Bart Anderson were children,
1,000 years ago,
they didn't have central air.
Right.
You had fans.
Right.
You had your windows open.
Right.
I can't imagine having my windows open and fans on in the summertime here in Florida.
Not like you said, not in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
You know, maybe in North Central Florida where you and I are at now. Maybe. But Fort Myers, Naples, oh my God, no. Steamy city.
Now, I am the type of person that if it's even like, let's say, just in the mid to upper 70s, maybe 80 degrees,
right?
I can have the windows open and the slider and be perfectly content in the house.
Sure.
But now my wife, she has allergies out the yin yang. If we leave the windows open even a couple hours, oh, her nose is running. She's got a sinus headache. She is miserable.
Mm-hmm.
But
I was going to say in Gainesville, when I moved in, it was late January of this year, and I have a door, a slider that opens to a porch that is not screened in. It's just an open porch outside, and I had my doors open. I would leave when I was watching TV at night, I'd leave the door open for all night because that time of year not too bad with the bugs. In fact, I don't remember any bugs. January, February, March, they're probably So, and nice, cool breeze, beautiful. I'm looking forward to doing that again. But yeah, you're right. Of course, once the summertime rolls around, it's like, not anymore.
Yep.
Oh.
So shout out to Bart. We had a Bart Anderson story today. Maybe I should say, hey, Bart, you better be listening to episode 10.
Well, we can tag him. We can tag him on Facebook because I know he's on. I do see him there often, like you said, with his travels and all of that stuff and some of his more, shall we say, offbeat ways of thinking about things. So, yes, all good.
Plus, we need to get Ted Fitzgeorge on. Maybe he can help us with this real estate market.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea because he's still heavily involved in that business in Fort Myers. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've talked about getting a lot of people on the show, and I think now that we've done 10 big episodes, it's time to start getting some people on. At least one good guest or something like that every week. It doesn't have to be every week, but yeah, that would be good to talk to some people and to see how they're doing over the years. See if they've aged as well as we have.
I did a search. Just the other day, because I was thinking about this, maybe we could get him on.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits.
Wow.
There was a way to contact him. I don't know, probably have to go through an agent. They go, well, he's going to have to pay. Yeah. But I was thinking, I need to try and, see if we can get him on the podcast. He would be a very interesting guest.
I remember when we had him on the show, he was by far the most interesting when it comes to music from that era. Of course, the era that we played on the BJ and Bill show. He was there for all of it because he was such a young man at the time. So he has all those years of experience to have and had seen it. And then he was playing was he playing like the Edison Festival or he was playing at some festival in Fort Myers?
He did the Edison Festival. He was there like 3 or 4 different times. I
remember BJ and Bill being on stage with him, and he was so nice and so cool and funny and sharp. And so, he wasn't like a quote unquote rock and roll star. He'd been there, done it, seen it, been through all of it. And yet he was so, it seemed to me, happy to share the spotlight and to share good stories and to do all the things that he did. So yeah, if we could get him, boy, that'd be a good get. That would be a good some guest to have for sure.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that idea.
Of all the years of the BJ and Bill show,
mm-hmm.
he was probably my favorite because he had some of the best stories when he was 16 years old on the road with the Rolling Stones. He was on the road with the Beatles. And he had stories.
Absolutely. And so I was going to say he's older than you and I.
Yeah, well, here we 70s go. Now, I think.
He's got to be. All right, so I'm going to go look him up. Here we go. Hang on a second.
While you're looking him up, I was going to say another guest we should probably get, and he's a good friend of mine actually, and I know he'd come on in a heartbeat, is Mark Price. He was known as Skippy from Family Ties.
Mark Price, Family
You watched
Ties.
Family Ties, right? When you were
Yes. I mean, I'm
remember
pretty sure I
Skippy?
did.
He was kind of like the nerd.
I mean, I'm sure I can't picture him immediately because I was just looking up Peter Noon. By the way, Peter Noon is 74 years old now. So, and
Better hurry
still
up and get
looking
him
great.
on.
Yeah. Better hurry up. Okay, Mark, I don't remember that one, but I'll take your word for it. And I'm sure when I go look him up after the show is over, that I'll go, oh yeah, of course.
He was the person that I did, because like I said, COVID hit, and and then that's where I did pretty much my last comedy show. And that was with Skippy.
Where did you
I was
do that?
opening for him in what is the name? It's basically Orlando, but it's like one of the suburbs.
Right, like
I don't know why,
Kissimmee or Winter Haven or something like that. Yeah.
Porky's Comedy Club.
Okay.
And that was the last show that I did after the pandemic. Now I know he's back out on the road and he's doing a lot of shows and things like that.
Cool. Very cool.
But we've known each other probably as long as I've known you.
Uh-huh.
And our friendship, every time we kind of get together,
yeah,
it's a little stronger. And now, I mean, I actually, a lot of people say, I could call him a friend and he would remember who I am.
Right.
But I could actually call Mark Price a friend now.
Cool. I'll look him up when we're done, and I will check it out, and I'm sure that I will remember him and all of that. And yeah, we've had a lot of good folks on the show, a lot of great folks on the show. And, I don't know how many of them are still around who are still alive and kicking 30 years later, 20 years later, but still, what would be awesome. That would be awesome to have some of those folks back. And like I said, they don't have to be the super famous types. It could be like our old friend Ted, or our psychic friend, Reverend Gregory Keene. I want to get him back. He's one of my best friends in the world still. So I'm sure he would be on the show with us. Absolutely.
I still never will forget the time that he was on the air with us.
Uh-oh.
Now we weren't on Oldies 95 WOLZ at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were on another station called Groovin 102.9.
Yes.
And the general manager, what was his name? Kelly is.
Yes. And he and I were actually buddies for a short time because he and I both are Ohio University Bobcats. We went to the same college, separated by 10 years.
But we had Gregory in on the show.
Yes.
And GM walks in like, oh my God, I'm loving the show. You guys are doing great. And he, looked at Gregory, because Gregory was live in studio that day, and said, doing a great job. And he goes, how's that painting project going? And he freaked out. Kelly goes, oh my God, I'm doing remodeling. I just got done doing some painting last night. And it was one of the greatest moments ever. I think he almost crapped his pants. I
think he probably almost did. Yeah. I remember. You're right. Now that you say it, I remember that he kind of left the studio kind of with what, well, I hate to use the cliche, but it is a cliche, kind of like somebody who had just seen a ghost. and that was, but Gregory is that kind of a guy. So yes,
after the show,
yeah,
he came back and he goes, oh my God. And that's when he told us the story, because we didn't know that when he left, but we found out about it later.
Yep.
Trying to see if I can find him.
Who are you looking for?
I got other old friends that are named Kelly, but.
Oh, yeah. I could go to Facebook and look it up. But the problem is I have a good friend in Englewood, Florida, a young lady, Kelly something or other. And it would probably find her before it found him, because I don't see him that often. Well, we'll find him. He went to Orlando as a group manager for somebody.
Now he's in Nashville.
Well, see, it's been so long since that I don't, I'm just playing catch up here. So I don't know. So anyway, but that's okay. We will find some folks to be on the show with us, because I'm sure you're tired of listening to two old men talk about nothing. It's all right. It's great. It's going to about do it for the week. For the week anyway. Anything else? I'll give the folks our email address, but anything else you wanted to add in here?
No, I think we pretty well covered nothing at all again this week.
Another good job of covering nothing at all. And if you would like to contribute to the show in any way with a comment or a question or a story, we'd love to hear from you. Email address, BJ and Bill podcast, which is like I keep saying, make sure you spell out the A-N-D, BJ and Bill podcast at gmail.com, or look up our Facebook page at the very same BJ and Bill podcast, and you will find us either way.
Now, I don't know about the rest of the locations, because you can find this podcast, as they say, wherever you get your podcast.
Yes.
But I do know if you go to Apple Podcast, you can actually subscribe.
Yes.
And you can also actually write a review.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yes.
So,
let's encourage our friends to review the show.
Now, again, I hate to talk money, but I've been told.
But you
I've
will.
been told. I'm just saying what I've been told.
Okay.
The more subscribers and the more reviews you have, well, I don't know if they're bad reviews or not, but the more reviews you have,
yeah,
the more you can monetize this podcast.
That's a fancy way of saying we get paid.
We're not asking you for money.
No.
We're not asking you for donations.
No.
We're just asking you to go to Apple Podcast and review our podcast and maybe make
leave a 9-star review. Yeah.
And then share it to even people that would never want to listen to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Hey, Grandma, I'm listening to this podcast. You won't like it. Then they don't talk about anything that you know about, but go ahead and subscribe to it for them.
No. Now it would be, hey, Grandma, they talk about everything.
Know about. Yeah. These guys are right up your alley. Absolutely. Oh, my God. All right. So there you go. Good advice. Find us on Apple Podcasts. Share it with your friends. Subscribe. Actually, they call it follow now. You follow shows on Apple Podcasts. You click the check mark and it's like, you're following this show. Thank you very much. And then share it with your friends and leave us a nice review, and all will be good with the world.
And I don't know. I mean, I know, like, on the video channels, like you like will binge watch something.
Yes.
You know what? You can always go back there too and binge listen to the BJ and Bill podcast, because after today, there's 10 episodes you can listen to. Who would ever want more? But yet you say you do. That's why we'll be dropping another new one next Wednesday.
Hey, we absolutely will. We'll see you next Wednesday. But until that time, it's just up to Mr. Odom to say,
see ya.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.